Welcome to Innovations and Breakthroughs with your host, Rich Goldstein, talking about the evolutionary, the revolutionary, the inspiration and the perspiration, and those aha moments that change everything. And now here's your host, Rich Goldstein.
Rich Goldstein here, host of the Innovations and Breakthroughs podcast, where I feature top leaders and the path they took to create change. Past guests include Joe Polish, Roland Frazier, and Kevin Nations. This episode is brought to you by my company, Goldstein Patent Law, where we've helped you to protect your idea and products. We've advised and obtained patents for thousands of companies over the past 27 years. So if you're a company that has software, a product, or a design you want protected, go to goldsteinpatentlaw.com, where there are amazing free resources for learning about the patent process. And you could email my team at welcome@goldsteinpc.com to explore if it's a match to work together. You could also check out the book I wrote for the American Bar Association that explains in plain English how patents work. It's called the ABA Consumer Guide to Obtaining a Patent. I have with me here today, Kate Hancock. Kate has built 4 highly successful businesses in less than 10 years. Among these is an e-commerce brand that she started with just a $20 investment and created over $1 million in revenue in just 1 year. She also created one of the top hotels in the Philippines and a facial center, which has been named twice in the Inc. 5000 fastest growing private companies in America. She's passionate about creating community among entrepreneurs. On Clubhouse, she created a community of 90,000 individuals in just 10 months, and she's impacted more than 7 million entrepreneurs. She's been featured in media channels such as the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Inc., USA Today, and many more. I'm very pleased to welcome here today my friend, Kate Hancock. Welcome, Kate.
Thank you, Rich. I'm honored to be here. Finally, we're doing this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, we were just hanging out in Austin, and as we record this, you're still in Austin. And so we got to spend some time together, which is great and kind of cool because a year ago, we did not know each other. A year ago, we did not even know what Clubhouse was. Right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. Any of the Clubhouse connections that I've made, it's really kind of funny to look at how kind of quickly they developed and strengthened, and people, like some people like you that I feel like I've known for years. But the reality is, I wasn't even on the platform where I met you until sometime later in December.
Yes, that was a crazy time, and I can't believe it's going to be a year very soon.
I know.
But definitely, I think it was the most fun ever experience in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know, let's just talk about that first. So that was kind of neat. I think December 17th, I joined Clubhouse. And at first I was just meandering around. There's a bunch of rooms. And if you've never been on Clubhouse, it's a place where essentially you can go into a room where there could be 10 people, there could be 1,000 people, and they're talking. There are people on stage that have the ability to unmute their microphone and talk, and then people that are visiting or in the audience can listen into the conversation. So I started out by just kind of hanging around these different rooms, and there was lots of interesting rooms that were mostly seemed about hip hop and things along those lines. And I was in a room where, Snoop Dogg was there and Warren G and all these other interesting people. They were all talking, but I was just a spectator. But then sometime,
crazy.
Exactly. And that's kind of how it started for me. And so sometime though, right around Christmas, I think it was maybe Christmas Eve, that I popped into this room called How to Run $1 Million Business. And it was all these entrepreneurs talking about running businesses. And at the very top of the screen is one of the 2 people that founded it, Kate Hancock. So that's where I first saw you, was in that room and talking about entrepreneurship stuff on Clubhouse. So how did that get started?
Well, that's definitely a crazy ride. Well, the reason why I joined Clubhouse, Rich, is because of Perry. I saw his
Perry Belcher.
Yeah, Perry Belcher. And he said, this is a cool app. That was December 12th. I remember that day. And I said, how can I get in? And so I right away downloaded the app, and you know what? Someone know me and let me in. And again, similar with your experience, all music room. Majority of it are from people from Atlanta, Georgia, which is fascinating. The whole people from Atlanta is in the app. But yeah, December 24th, it was a boring day. And Jen and I were like, what are we going to do? We're on lockdown in California. And I said, why don't we just create our own room today? And the title is What It Takes to Run a $1 Million Business, because I know I will not have a hard time finding a speaker because I know a lot of friends that run over $1 million businesses. So that's the reason why. That's the title of the room. And right there, that's how I met you. I met Ron Fraser. I mean, every single celebrity in the entrepreneurship world was in that room. It was fascinating. We have average about 3,000 people every 20 minutes. That's about the turnaround of people listening in that room. Fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, so, I think I'm going to leave a note for the producers. We need to call this episode What It Takes to Run a $1 Million Business. They're always looking for a title that kind of captures what the conversation is about. But yeah, what it takes to run a $1 million business. There's the right title for the room, and it's the right title for this episode. And just the little footnote about that long story I was telling about Clubhouse is that was then my first opportunity to go from being in the audience to being on stage. So that was the chance that I got and many other people got to actually talk on the app and kind of share some things that I know with people. So thank you for that. Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. Well, you're the nice guy that can talk about patent. Every time someone asks about patent, I was like, where is Rich? So sometimes I know I would DM you like, we need you here. We need advice. So it's actually good. You know what? It's so smart when you position yourself as being the expert of a niche, right? Market. Like you're the only one that I can think of that I can drag around. Oh, this is exactly Rich angle. Like you can answer this question. I think people have to understand, people are asking questions, what to do with the business struggle, whether it's an IP question. So we have different experts of every single thing. That was the most fun about it. And thank you for your contribution of impacting so many entrepreneurs and myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it kind of course, for me, led to some other things too. It led me to meet other people on the app. It led for me to create my own rooms to talk about patents and trademarks and help people to understand some of those principles. And, lots of other cool things came about from that involvement. I mean, actually, being on Clubhouse led to me being cast in 2 movies.
Wow. Is that really coming from Clubhouse?
Well, yeah, absolutely. It was, did I not tell you about this story about, Monica Floyd put me in the 2 movies? One
Yeah, you
playing
showed me the
doctor.
story, but I wasn't aware that it was coming through a relationship from Clubhouse. I'd love to hear about it.
Well, in January of this past year, I was in a small room with a bunch of other people, including, Joe Vargas, Hustler, and Bobby, his wife, and also, Jay Young, the Jay Young MDK, the rapper, and Monica Floyd. And it was late at night. It was just a bunch of us. And we were talking, and they started asking me IP questions. And so it was 2 a.m. New York time, 11 a.m. Pacific time. So they didn't seem to mind. But for me, they kept me in the room till 5 a.m. New York time. And at the end of it, we decided that we were going to do a room that was going to focus on patent and trademark info for entrepreneurs. So I invited all of them back to be in that room. And essentially, that's when Monica and I came to become good friends. And then she started her own room called Trials to Triumphs. And every Friday night I would be there in her room. And out of that, essentially at a certain point, she told me, she's like, I just put you in my new movie as the doctor. And then I shot that. And then also shot a detective role for the Christmas movie that she did. So Yeah, that came out of Clubhouse. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. And I love this collaboration. And we just learned that the other day through War Room that the future brands is community and really the power of community, what you're getting. And, for me, I've been blessed to have a great community in Clubhouse that landed me with a lot of joint ventures and affiliate deals and business partnership. I mean, I love it. I mean, again, we all can grow through collaborations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of my mentors says that relationship is the foundation of accomplishment. It really is everything that you do, everything you create is grounded in relationship. And so creating community is the source of just about anything that we do. And so on Clubhouse, you created a lot of great community by running that room. So first of all, that initial room, it went for how many days?
20 days. That was December 24th to January 12th. And then I think we started another
24/7. Just got to highlight that.
Yes,
20 days, 24 hours a day, continuously.
Yes. And I think that first marathon, we definitely impacted at least 5 million right there. Because that's like 3,000 people every 20 minutes turnaround. So that's pretty amazing. And then April of 2021, we started another marathon room because someone challenged me that the German room beat your record. It's like, what do you mean? And me being the high achiever, okay, let's do it again. And it lasted for 85 days.
Wow.
85 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with 1,500 moderators. I manage entrepreneurs globally, run the WhatsApp group, and that's like a 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think it works so hard building a company. I definitely think building the community is a lot of work, but it's fulfilling at the same time.
Yeah, no, but that's amazing. What you accomplished there really is amazing. And so you've had, I guess, more than 7 million people come through that room during that time. Is that it?
Yes, 7 million people. Yes. I've never, I mean, what conference can you touch 7 million people? I mean, that's hard. Or even having an audience of you speaking for an hour, we do average about 1,600 people. I mean, that's an hour of 1,600 people that's listening to you. It's even though we're talking about audio app is dead, there's still a really huge opportunity out there. Now, it might not be as popular as early on because they create all this hype, but there's still a really good amount of people that you can capture.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you've also taken a lot of those people and funneled them into some other opportunities to build community. Like you've had arranged dinners and meetups and things like that, correct?
Yeah, so we just hosted our 10th curated meetup here in Austin, and I love, you know what? There's something about the dinner, Rich, that you can get to know a person way deeper than just joining, just being in a big conference room. I mean, we talk about it being in a mastermind, the most valuable of the things that it's not really the content, it's the relationship that you're building, that conversation in the hallway. That's when you're finding yourself like, what, I like that. That's my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's roll it back a bit and just talk about kind of how you got here. So tell me a bit about your background. So I believe you were born in the Philippines, correct?
Yes, I grew up in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
I started at a very early age, as early as 10. I work in a family business. I was cleaning pastry molds, 100 pieces a day right after school. And I hated that job. I hated being stuck in that, cleaning that pastry molds, and sometimes the custard stick in it. And I remember my hands just a lot of cuts, and I have a very sensitive skin, and I have all these blisters in my hands. So I grew up in a family business. So I'm used to having that long hours, waking up 4 a.m. in the morning as early as 10. And so I moved out here in the United States right after college. And I was working several jobs. And I remember I would change uniform in a parking lot. I have 3 jobs at one point, Rich. Was a makeup artist. I was doing a wine sampling, and I was doing all this promo job. And it eventually landed me working for a skincare company where I move up pretty fast. And one day I was in Austin, Texas. So right here. That's why Austin plays a special place in my heart, because I was at Costco. I was running a roadshow Costco at that time. I was running the whole nationwide. I trained staff. I put together the sales and marketing strategies, and it was a boring day here in Austin, Texas. I know someone told me, one of the manager in Orange County at Costco told me that any items that ends with 0 or 9 in Costco, that's a clearance item. So that day I started scanning stuff online through Amazon. So I bought a box and a tape. It's $20. I went to Staples and I shipped 2 items that day. And that $20, I scale it to $1 million, revenue e-commerce. And I sold 8 figures after 4 years. So that was my entrepreneurship journey.
Wow. That's amazing. And so I guess you were basically arbitraging products that existed, right?
Yes, I was doing product arbitrage. Yes, I was buying pallets and pallets of items at Costco. Then that leads me going to different conference in Vegas, and like I would source this product. And this is early 2012 when margins were high, and it's Amazon is not as strict as what it is now. So I was definitely at the right time at the right place, and I was just maximizing it. And I have the greatest account in Amazon because I could get paid the next day even before buying the product, and that's how I was able to scale it without needing a capital. Now you can't do that now, but definitely, I was so amazed by the opportunity, and I glued on it for the first 5 years, and it pays me back. And definitely it's not a long-term game. I know that. I mean, if you rely into a big giant, anytime they can take it away from you. And that happened to me in 2018. So I lost that business, lost $1.5 million. They throw $500,000 worth of my inventory. I was stuck with $1 million of products in my store. I was able to invest into a facial center. I have a brick and mortar store in Orange County, but I was stuck with millions of dollars of product. I thought that was the end of me, but hey, that's part of the game we play. Being an entrepreneur, sometimes you can have it all. You're not winning all the time, but that was definitely a very difficult time of my life.
Hmm. Well, would you ever consider doing another product after that?
No, after that, after the incident, I will never create a business where I don't own the real estate. I mean, you can't build a house on a rented land, and I can't, that was a very expensive lesson and a very expensive mistake, right? But what
So
do
in this
I
case, though, the rented land is Amazon. Like basically, you're saying you wouldn't build a business built on another person's platform, that they own the real estate.
Yes.
But if you were going to launch a product, and I mean, would you consider launching a product that wasn't on Amazon?
I stay away from a business where it requires a lot of inventory. I stay away from that.
Yeah.
It just, I don't want to do that. I think there's other ways you can monetize things without having to have inventory, and that's the kind of business what I wanted to get involved with.
Services.
I mean, yeah, services. I mean, I own hotels. I mean, yeah, I have rooms there, but it's not as I have to worry about product expiration and products sitting there and you losing money because products sitting there. I mean, it's just not for me anymore. I think I've retired into that. I just want to be a little bit smarter with my time and focus on the things that make sense for me at this point in my life.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. But let's talk about it. How'd you get into the hotel business? How did that come about?
I actually started with just one Airbnb room, Rich, and it was just one room with a tiki hut and has a pool because I envisioned it like I want to have a room where I could visit home. Philippines still my home, even though I'm here half of my life now in the US. Half of my family is still in the Philippines. It's like, you know what? Let me just build this. So I actually acquired that land while running Amazon, and I have my VA, my virtual assistant, like, you know what, like just build me this. And so I draw a design in a Starbucks table napkin, and I sent it to them and listed that. It took them, I think, 6 months to build one room. It took them a while. And so I listed it through Airbnb, and I was looking at it. I'm declining guests 6 months in advance. And I get so many requests, like, I have a business here. And so I built a room underneath that first room. And then I built another 2 rooms, and I'm booked again. I was like, okay, so this is a viable business. I have a team that can run it. I'm 7,000 miles away. And, all I have to do is design and make sure everything's running smoothly. And so I created a second locations in the mountain because I have so much demand. And that's how it all started. And it's crazy. I think I tend to start small, and once I get traction, and that's when I put my energy into things, and it always worked pretty good most of the time.
Oh, that's awesome. And another service business that you've gotten into is the facial business. I guess skincare. Is that it? Is that it?
Yes, it's kind of similar. The face. I have a medical spa in Orange County. It's the OC Facial Center. It makes sense because I was selling skincare online, so it makes sense for me to have a brick and mortar store, and I wanted to open it as a licensing deal. I might probably start doing it outside of the US, where restrictions are a little bit more lenient than doing business here.
Cool. So what do you think is next for you? Like, what do you think might be one of the next things that you work on, or new business that you're working on you want to talk about?
Yeah, so Dan and I, because of the community we built through Clubhouse, we actually started doing the media company during pandemic, and now it even elevates because of the community that we're creative 91,000 entrepreneurs globally. So we just book a slot for Fox TV where we highlight entrepreneur story, kind of similar to what we're doing on Clubhouse, where we highlight amazing entrepreneurs. But this time we will be doing this on TV, which I'm very excited. We've never done this before, but I'm sure it's not going to kill us, right, Rich? And I have this big project where we are putting together a compilation book of the top 100 most influential entrepreneurs in the world. And I'm very excited having the Reebok founder being part of it. I'm very excited for this project. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this, Rich, is this actually happened to me in 2018, right before the collapse of the Amazon business, where I actually won this title, this award of the top 100 most influential Filipino in the world. But guess what happened? I was in so much stress. I got a nerve damage at that time. And I cannot fly out to London to accept the award. So they took that award away from me. I was like,
oh, wow.
Well, if you can't be in the media, then be the media, right?
Right.
The community.
You create your own. You create
your own media. Yes.
Create your own list and your own community. Why not?
Yeah,
absolutely. And you've got the credibility to back it up. You've got the credibility in the community to back it up. I think that's really awesome.
Well, thank you, Rich. Yes, so I'm very excited for that project.
Okay, cool. And so currently on Clubhouse, you've got it's now a club. What was once a room, how to run $1 million business is now a club. Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like an ongoing podcast or a radio show where we have scheduled rooms every Friday, and the weekends we kind of do a little bit of marathon rooms. And again, we have a segment there called The Founder Story, or we interviewed, entrepreneur story. And I love doing that. I love highlighting the underdogs and the heavy hitters. And that's, again, the reason why we're trying to put together this compilation book. Because if you think about it, the people that are speaking, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, same people, but there's so many amazing entrepreneurs that you've never heard of, like yourself. You should be speaking on stage because you have so much expertise to share.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. I mean, I think speaking, it's all about providing value. And there's definitely imperfect information in the area of finding the speakers that have the value and then putting them on stages. And so I think Clubhouse was one of the things that was really great to kind of equalize that. It's like you can get people, give them a chance to share value. And when they do, then they get other opportunities. So it's like both of us, like, back when we started on Clubhouse, our followers just started skyrocketing. Once we started talking and giving value, people were like, I'd like to see them again. And they started following. And then having followers got you on more stages. And so it's kind of like a bit of a, I guess, meritocracy. It's like people with merit were the ones that are able to share that message and like kind of share what they had to say and things that might help other entrepreneurs, based upon how well they've done. So yeah, totally. I agree. And it's awesome having you here, and people want to learn more about you and get in touch with you, Kate. How do they go about doing so?
Yeah, so easy. Just go to katehancock.com, or you can go to my Instagram page. I mean, I'm very active on Instagram, but go to katehancock.com.
Awesome. Well, once again, Kate, thanks so much for joining the show. Great to see you in person this week. And,
yeah, I can't wait to hang out with you again. Thank you for being
here. Me too. Soon, very soon.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Rich. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Innovations and Breakthroughs with your host, Rich Goldstein. Be sure to click subscribe, check us out on the web at innovationsandbreakthroughs.com, and we'll see you next time.